Hello, everyone, and welcome to the October 18th, 2021 edition of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. My name is Blythe Daylong. I'm the Executive Director at the Adelphi University Performing Arts Center. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with Adelphi. Now, while we are happy to have in-person audiences back in our performances at the PAC, we will continue to use this show to bring Adelphi's talented students, faculty, staff, alumni, and other guests to you throughout the semester. Now, on this episode, I'll be speaking with Monica Ellis of Imani Winds about their concert and workshop this week, and the director and lead actors from the Department of Theater's upcoming production of Sense and Sensibility. But first, last weekend, just yesterday, we welcomed Adelphi's Best of Broadway back to the stage for live performances with an audience. Best of Broadway is actually our last performance in February of 2020 before everything shut down. So it was a great thrill to have them back on the stage in the Performing Arts Center and have an audience there. So to kick off tonight's show, here is the opening number from their performances this weekend of Best of Broadway. Enjoy.
I got life, mother. I got laughs, sister. I got freedom, brother. I've got good times, man. I got crazy ways, daughter. I got $1 million charm, cousin. I've got headaches and toothaches and bad times too. I got my hair, I got my head, I got my brains, I got my ears, I got my eyes, I got my nose, I got my mouth, I got my teeth. I got my tongue, I got my chin, I got my neck, I got my tits, I got my heart, I got my soul, I got my back, I got my ass. I got my arms, I got my hands, I got my fingers, got my legs, I got my feet, I got my toes, I got my liver, got my blood. He's got life.
Spread it around the world, my brother, so everybody knows what I got.
And thanks again to everyone involved in Best of Broadway for a great weekend of performances. It was great to have them back on stage, and we look forward to the rest of the semester and seeing more of them as things continue. So on to things that are coming up. So this Friday, October 22nd, we'll be welcoming our newest ensemble in residence, Imani Winds. So here to tell us more about this group and give us a preview of their concert, talk a little bit about everything that's going to be going on this Friday, is Monica Ellis. Welcome, Monica.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for having me.
I am thrilled that you were able to join us, and thank you again for taking the time to be here and talk a little bit about the group. So now you guys were supposed to be making your PAC debut as part of our 2020-2021 season. We'd been talking with you, everything was all in the works and ready to go, like so much of that season.
Right.
But as with everything, it was delayed, and so we are excited to be finally welcoming you back to Adelphi this, well, not back, but welcome you for the first time this Friday for some workshops and a concert as well. So let's start with if you can just tell us about Imani Winds as an ensemble and sort of what you guys do and the kind of music you make.
Sure. Well, I'm one of the original members. We are in our 25th season right now, if you can imagine. So that's very exciting. Myself and Toyin Spellman Diaz, the oboist of the group, are the original members, but we have been around for a really long time. But even with the newish members, we have one member that it just came on this year, our French hornist. Our clarinetist has been with us for the last 6 years, and our flute player, Brandon George, joined in 2018. So even with those new members, it feels like there's a new resurgence of the group, and we're excited to keep playing the music that we love. So we formed, like I said, in 1997, now 25 seasons ago, as primarily an African American Latino wind quintet. And that was the purpose of that, was just to show that the diversity of wind music, of chamber music, is out there. It had been in many other ensembles and just many other forms, but particularly this group, not this type of group, a wind quintet, not so much. And so it was really our mission to just show the representation of our instruments and of the chamber music ensemble as a whole, and then also to play music that represented composers that you may not hear, whether that's because the music was out there and didn't have a chance to be exposed, or we commissioned people that had not written for the wind quintet. So our repertoire really just runs the gamut of between what you would call your standards, commissioned pieces, and works that we kind of unearth ourselves and bring to the fore. So it's been a blast. It's been a blast all of these years. And coupled with that, we do things like we will do on Friday, which is work with students, work with young people, whether that's at the grade school level or perhaps the college level. We love to just engage and kind of break down those walls that are sometimes in place in classical music.
Sure. Well, and that's so, I mean, you said it at the end. That's so important, and especially in the classical music world, and in with these small ensembles and things, there are certain people that you're not used to seeing that often in groups like that, or people not writing music for groups like that. Really is great to see that starting to shift and be part of your mission as a group, because and I think you guys are also, I know you guys are doing a workshop as well, specifically about diversity in classical music and those kind of discussions and the challenges and barriers and ways to kind of move on that. So we're excited to have that conversation as well.
Right. No, totally. And the last year definitely brought about the awareness of diversity on all fronts, but particularly in traditionally non-per people of color communities, somewhat like the classical music world is. We've been seeing a brighter light being shown upon it. But the truth of the matter is that groups like ours and artists of color and diversity has been there all this time. It's just not been somewhat brought to the fore. And so that's, I think, important to note too, that these conversations are occurring, but it's kind of like the discovery notion. It's like, oh, I discovered you, but I was already here.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. P.S. We've been doing this for 25 years. As you may remember. Yeah.
And a lot of other groups and a lot of other incredible ensembles and individual soloists have been doing it too. But nevertheless, it is very vital to have these conversations now and to talk about these things and to show the representation. So yes, we're excited to share a discussion with some of the students, and as well as do some composer readings, I believe, is one of our other activities.
Yeah, I think that's the other
Friday.
workshop, is that our composition students are working on pieces for you guys to then play and give them feedback, which is something
Right.
we have our ensembles and residents do all the time, which is really interesting to see, and for them to hear and to get that feedback, and for you guys to talk to them as, you know, outsiders and professional musicians playing what it's like to play their music. And
Right. No, we love that. And you
yeah.
know, the thing is that the repertoire for Wind Quintet is not very vast. You know, we do not have a huge amount of repertoire. So it's vital for us. Just I sometimes say it's a little selfish sometimes that because we're gaining repertoire and we're just kind of sharing the knowledge of how to write for these instruments that isn't out there so much. So it's important for us as a group to make sure that composers do want to write for our ensemble, have those tools. So those composer readings are really important and fun for us.
No, which is great. So, well, we have a short performance from your group. So tell us about this piece that we're going to hear next up on the show.
Yeah, so I think this is Starting Something, and this is an oldie but goodie. One of an original composition by now our former French horn player Jeff Scott. He is in this particular video because our new guy just came on board this year. But Jeff Scott is an amazing composer, amazing French hornist. He's now the professor of French horn at Oberlin Conservatory. So, you know, that's why he had to leave us, because he went on to bigger things, you know.
Sure.
And by the way, I'm a graduate of Oberlin, so you know, I can say it's not so good, but
right. Well,
amazing.
Give him a hard time about leaving. Yeah.
Right. But this is a work that he was influenced by early jazz music, and kind of that more not the straight ahead music that we hear now, but the early jazz of even like the 1920s. And so that was his somewhat influenced by this, and just kind of that real tight wind sound that you do often hear in a big band section. So you'll hear a little bit of that in there, and there's a heck of a lot of notes. So it's a fun one to play.
Great. Well, this is Starting Something from Imani Winds. Enjoy. excellent work.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was great.
That's a fun one.
It's a very fun piece. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jeff often writes for utility purposes. Like, we need an opener. Next thing you know, there's a 5-minute number that just can start
Right?
a program.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yep.
I mean, it's always nice to have somebody who can just, as part of the group that can throw something together that you can fill in those gaps on a program like that.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And he and Valerie Coleman, our original flutist and the founder of the group, also an incredible composer, and she's just having so many incredible accolades in her own right these days. They did that for so many years for us. They truly found ways to write music that would serve different purposes, that would, of course, develop the repertoire and just continue the development of the ensemble and of the wind quintet as a whole. But yeah, they found a way to also say, oh, we need new music for this purpose. Let's write that. And so extremely talented composers in that regard, for sure.
That's great. So and now that we've heard a little bit from the group, tell us specifically about what we're going to hear on your program this Friday at Adelphi.
Yeah, so this program that we're doing is actually kind of a combination of programs that we've been doing, that we've started to do. This is only our fourth or fifth concert back from the pandemic ourselves. So for that reason, we're just super excited, just by the way. But we began to, some years ago, a few years back now, realize that pieces, a lot of our pieces had a way of making a program, of making a theme. And so, let's not just play music for the sake of the music itself, although that's amazing too, but how can we have something that has just a little bit more meaning to it, a little bit more focus to it? And so the works that are coming together are ones that we call the beauty of strife. So that in and of itself sounds rather ominous and a little like, what is that supposed to mean? But it's there's pieces that represent things that have happened in the world that were rather atrocious in many ways, or need some context to them because they came from troubled lands or issues of society. And so how can we put those together, and how can we show that music in and of itself can come out of that, can transcend these things that have happened? So the first piece is by an arrangement, again, by Valerie Coleman, of the South African national anthem, Nkosi Sikelel'. And of course, we know, the country of South Africa and all that it's endured for decades and decades. And so that national anthem really means a lot to us and a lot to the country. So the next piece is by Maurice Ravel, and it's the very famous Le Tombeau de Couperin. Now you might say, well, what's so atrocious about that? It's some of the most gorgeous music, but many may not know that it was written for his fallen friends from World War I. And Ravel was a nurse in World War I. So when friends of his passed away, that's how he created Le Tombeau, which originally is for piano, and then he rearranged it himself for the orchestra. And so we've got yet another arrangement for the wind quintet. And then the next piece that will close out the first half is another arrangement, which, by the way, we tend to do as well. Again, coming back to not a lot of pieces for the wind quintet. So if we find great arrangements for the group, we really try to take advantage of that. But this is really cool and special. It's Shostakovich's String Quartet number 8. And this piece, well, anything by Shostakovich, as we know, will often have a very intense political nature to it, overtone and undertone to it, all the way around. So this is no different. This is very, very intense piece. It was written in 1960 after 15 years after the war ended. He was visiting Dresden, Germany, and came across this bombed out city, even though 15 years had already gone by. And he was just devastated at what he was seeing and what the war had had done to this city. And so he went into this trance-like state and came out with this piece, with the quartet number 8. So there was an arrangement for it that we kind of just came across. I want to say Jeff actually found the arrangement, and next thing you know, we're like, this is amazing. And we have to be careful with arrangements because they sometimes aren't as a good translation from the original.
Sure.
And this is a quartet going to a quintet, so it actually kind of makes it a little bit easier because the arranger was figured out ways to let people rest up a little bit versus going from a big thing to a small thing. We went from something bigger to smaller, something smaller to bigger. Great. So anyway, it's very intense. It's very just quite moving and challenging to kind of listen to, but the music perseveres, and it's just this incredibly gorgeous music that we think translates really well to the quintet. The second half actually features music that is either inspired by Cuba or by Cuban composer, and just the political turmoil that country has gone through sort of enticed us to put these pieces on the second half. And so we'll hear from Valerie Coleman again, and this time it's an original composition that she wrote for us really back in our early years in 2001, one of her first great masterworks, and it's called the Afro-Cuban Concerto. It features Cuban rhythms and Cuban motifs put together in 3 movements like a concerto, and it was actually meant to play with orchestra at one point in time. That kind of never happened, but she then rearranged it for just the quintet. And so that's why the concerto part always lasted. And we close out the concert with a piece by none other than Paquito de Rivera, one of the native sons of Cuba who lives here in New Jersey, in the New York area, and has been for many years, and very outspoken, righteous man. And we are proud to call a friend. So we finish out with Mopango by Paquito de Rivera.
Nice. A great program. And something that we're very looking forward to showcasing that is coming up this Friday, October 22nd. It's at 7:30 p.m. I'm also throwing in Eastern time because we are also live streaming this concert. So people, no matter where they are going to be able to watch if they aren't able to come and join us in the Performing Arts Center in person for whatever reason that is. So we're excited to be able to share that with people beyond just who can be in the room. So again, that's coming up this Friday, October 22nd, 7:30. As always, tickets and more information to both the in-person and the live stream are available on our website, which is pac.adelphi.edu. And there's also information on there about the workshops that you're doing earlier in the day. If people are local and have time during the day to be able to join us for those as well. So that is fantastic. Again, we're really looking forward to having you here on Friday and starting your work as our newest ensemble in residence. And I'm going to share one more piece of music from you guys at the very end of the show tonight. So tell us about the piece that we're going to hear at the end so that I can let you go and we can move on and talk to the folks from Sense and Sensibility.
Awesome. Yes, well, you'll hear yet another arrangement, this time from Jeff Scott. And this is just an example really quickly of the types of collaborations that we love to do. We were able to collaborate with the great Simone Shaheen, who is an oud player as well as a violinist and an incredible musician from Palestine. And so he is just a Middle Eastern music master. And we collaborated with him on a project where he commissioned a piece for us. And then we needed a closer. And so this tune of his came up, and Jeff arranged it for the group plus him. And then he did another arrangement for us to do on our own. And so it's called Dance Mediterranean. And I think it just is in and of itself, it's incredible, but it's an example of not only collaborations that we do, but just showing the breadth of music from around the world that can be adapted to our instruments. So thank you for having me. And we look forward to being there on Friday. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing some music with us. And we'll see you on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks,
all
Monica.
Right. Take care.
And that is it from Imani Winds. As I said, they'll be we'll be back with one more piece of music from them at the very end of the show tonight. But coming up at the beginning of November, the Department of Theater presents their main stage show for the semester, the play Sense and Sensibility by Kate Hamill. This is based on the novel by Jane Austen. So to tell us more about that show, I am happy to welcome the director and a couple of the students that are participating in the show. I'm going to bring them on now. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And I'm hoping that Millie is here, but her camera, and there you go.
Oh,
Great.
there she is. Hello. Great.
Well, excellent. Let's start by having each of you introduce yourselves, and then we'll come back to Janice to tell us about the show. So Janice, why don't we start with you?
Okay. My name is Janice Goldberg, and I am the director of Sense and Sensibility.
Hi, my name is Millie Shrestha. I'm a senior acting major, and I'm playing Marianne.
And I'm Abigail Grace. I'm also a senior acting major, and I'm playing Eleanor.
Great. And Janice, I believe these are our two leads in the show, correct?
They are indeed these fabulous women. That's exactly what they are. So, you want me to dive in here, Blythe?
Absolutely.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about this. So I need to say this up front, that this is not your grandmother's Sense and Sensibility. The story still comes through very clearly, but it has a decidedly contemporary spin. It raises lots of questions, but one of the big questions is, how do we react to societal pressures? Do we do what we're supposed to do? Do we follow all the rules, or do we break them? Do we follow our heart? Do we go with our heads? And this dynamic is reflected in the two lead characters, in Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood. They're sisters. Eleanor represents the sense, the clear-headedness, the one who does what she's supposed to do, and she follows the rules. She's a good girl. And Marianne's also a good girl. And she represents the sensibility, the sensitivity. She's the emotion. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and her passion is out there for all to see. She has no trouble hiding it, and can't understand why everybody else wants to hide theirs. So the play explores this dynamic and the ramifications of it. It's primarily a love story, and it's a love story between the two sisters. And even though they're diametrically opposed, they love each other desperately, and they support each other, and that's never in question, and it's never in doubt. And it's also, I think, one of the things that makes the play so beautiful to watch.
Great.
There's also romantic love. Hold on. There's also romantic love. There's lots of satire, and I need to say this. It's a comedy. This is a comedy. It's full of it's madcap. There's a lot of farcical elements to it. It's a comedy. It also recognizes the influence of gossip, and what does that say, and what happens when people say things and expect things, and how are the people that are said things about are affected, and what we do and what we say, and how crazy that all gets. The plot, for those of you who haven't read the book, which is a lot of people, but still a lot of people have, is how do we get these young women married off? Because especially the book was written in the late 1700s. So in that time period, you needed to be married, and you couldn't get married to just any old person, especially if you were upper class. And these folks in the play are all of an upper class. In that time period, in the late 1700s and up until whenever, women could not inherit property. They didn't have careers, so they really had to pay attention to who they were going to marry so that they were taken care of in their lives. Let's see. If you read the book, you will recognize all the characters. Although this version has its own take on everything, it's a play based on the book. It's not the book. It's a play. Right. So it needs to be clear about that. And that there are lots and lots of characters in the play, but they're only played by 11 actors. So everyone is, except for these two ladies, actually, everyone else is double cast or triple cast or quadruple cast. So it's quite the ride. It's great fun. And here's what I really have to say is that if you haven't been to the theater to see anything live in the last almost 2 years, this is a great show for you to come back to for the first time. That's what I'll say.
That's great. No, I mean, well, because and that's a good point, because it is, there are times where you're in a theater and you're just watching something and you could be anywhere, but this piece is very theatrical.
Oof.
And it is very much, I mean, anyone, those of you who are in New York and pay attention to the New York theater scene and the off-Broadway scene in particular, this is the production that Bedlam Theater Company did just a few years ago to great acclaim. They are known for doing wacky things and working on, in a lot of different ways at once. You've got folks all throughout the theater, and it's really it's a really great fun piece. And I think, like you said, it's a good way to jump right back into like being in the theater and seeing something very theatrical. I think, let's talk with our two students to see how the rehearsal process has been going. You guys have been in the throes of rehearsal for the last few weeks. You have a couple more weeks to go before you get into the theater and start working there, although you've been working in the theater some along the way. So maybe Abigail, let's start with you and tell us about your take on things and how the work has been going for you.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, we have had an opportunity to work in the space in the theater as well throughout our rehearsal process. And it's been honestly a great experience so far. It's such a fun show for us to do. The actors and crew are having a lot of fun with it. Like Jenna said, it is a comedy, and it is a absurd one, but it is great. And yeah, it's really fun being able to explore the difference between the two characters and how those kind of polar opposites can come together to create something truly special between the two of them. Along with being affected by all these crazy, kooky characters that are doing things all around us constantly and affecting the way our lives are going to be going. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to share it with some audiences soon.
That's great. And Millie, how have things been going for you? I know it's been, we were doing stuff during the last year and a half in the theater and in the space, but we didn't have audiences there. So it certainly is different. And also we weren't doing things where we had an ensemble as large as your cast all on stage together and working together either. So how's the process been going for you?
This is my first time back in like live theater in 2 years maybe. So I think it's a big, Janice always says it's a monster of a show, which it really is. There are so many moving parts, but I think that's what makes this process exciting. Like there are so many different parts of the production that I think that a lot of people will enjoy. And I found this process to also be very collaborative, and I think that is freeing as an actor, because I think the role of Marianne is the biggest role that I've ever been cast in, because she's such a big person and so passionate. So I think this. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay.
Yes, I think that there's just a lot of heart in this. And yes, it is a comedy, but there is also a lot of heart in this play. Yes, about the collaborativeness, we're free to explore our character and also free to give suggestions about what we think might work for the play, like in terms of blocking, in terms of ideas, or like whatever drives us, intuition of what we think our character would do. So I think that has been really cool to do in the process. And I am also very excited for everyone to see it.
Well, I mean, that's great. And we're excited to be able to put on a show in the theater with a set and, and a big cast of people and also then have an audience there live in person to be able to enjoy that and to have that experience back. Because as much as we've loved doing all the things that we've been doing the last year and a half, it really hasn't been the same at all in terms of any of this. So, we really decided to just jump back in full force when we were talking about what we were going to do and throwing this show. We kind of overloaded ourselves this fall, to be honest, but we're excited that it's coming together and that we've got this going on, and in just a couple of weeks. So I am looking forward to welcoming folks to Sense and Sensibility. This is running from November 2nd through the 7th. It is evenings, and on the weekend there are daytime performances as well. And then also with this show, I am thrilled that we are continuing to still try and live stream at least some of our performances. So the Saturday evening performance will also be live streamed for those who are unable to join us in person for whatever reason. So obviously we want people to come and be there in the room if they're able to. But if they're not, this is a great way for them to still be able to see the show. As always, tickets are on our website at pac.adelphi.edu, both for the live version and for the streaming version that is also live, but that you can watch from home. So, Janice, anything you want to add about the show, or anything that we want to make sure people know before they decide to head and get their tickets and come see the show?
Even though I said it's not your grandmother's Sense and Sensibility, you can bring your grandmother, and you should. Grandma will enjoy it too, and grandpa. So bring the whole family. Yes, it's a family show. Everybody can come.
That's great. It's excellent. And I think also an excellent way to spark conversations about the book. And for those people who haven't necessarily read the book, to get them interested. For folks who maybe read it a long time ago, there's a reason why these stories keep getting retold in different ways, right, over the years. And this is yet another one. Does have a very contemporary sensibility to it, because it was put together just a few years ago. So,
but it has great heart. It has great heart.
Yeah. That's excellent. Excellent. And anything from any of the rest of you, either of you, that you want to throw in at the end?
Come see the show.
Yeah, come see the
Yeah.
show. I think,
Perfect.
all of us are so excited to do live theater again. It would be awesome to fill a house.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to having you back and having you back on stage in just a couple of weeks. So thank you all so much for taking the time. I know this is your night off from rehearsals. So thank you for being here to do this. And we will see you in just a couple of weeks with the show.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
everybody.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
And with that, we are almost to the end of yet another episode. We have lots of great performances coming up at the Performing Arts Center over the next several weeks and months, including many student performances like Sense and Sensibility, Dance Adelphi, Best of Broadway that we just had this weekend. We are looking forward to welcoming the return of magician Mike Super on Saturday, November 13th. We are looking forward to welcoming back Tony nominee Lorem Lewis on Friday, December 17th, as well as everything else we have going on. You can find all those details on our website at pac.adelphi.edu. As a reminder, everyone is still wearing masks at all times while you're indoors at the Performing Arts Center, except those people on stage. And audience members are also showing us their proof of vaccination or recent negative COVID test to be able to attend a performance at Adelphi, just to make sure and keep everyone as safe as possible, and so that we can keep doing performances and welcoming audiences into our space, because we are thrilled to have everyone back and don't want to have to give that up anytime soon. So to close out the show, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking to Monica, here is another piece of music from Imani Winds. Be sure to join us for their concert on this Friday, October 22nd at the PAC or online. In the meantime, make sure to please stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you back here in 3 weeks on Monday, November 8th for another edition of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. But for now, to close us out, here again is Imani Winds with Dance Mediterranean. Enjoy.
Thank you.